click on scroll this. Okay. Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah, it says I'm live now.
Yeah, I see it.
Awesome, guys. So, this is my first live stream of coding. I'm gonna be creating a simple service I had thought of when I was implementing the dark theme on Taiga UI demo portal. Let's see what it looks like. So, basically, in Windows 10 or on mobile devices, there is a preferred app scheme, the dark and light one. I've implemented this switch here, but I had to manually check what is the preferred setting right now. And I was thinking, what if we could have a little observable service that would be watching over this setting and emit new values if they change. So this is what we're going to try and make here. First of all, let's see how it's done right now in Taiga UI. It should be theme night, right? So it's theme night component, and let's see where it's used. There it is. So if night. Basically, this is a match media from a window, and if it matches this media, then we use night mode or not. So it's preferred color scheme dark. It's basically a media query from CSS that we can use. And let's try and wrap a service around that. So first of all, let's go to Stack Blitz and create a simple file. Night theme service. So it's gonna be injectable with provided in root. And I'm going to explain a little concept that me and Roman came up with some time ago on how to do such things. Basically, let me type it down first. So basically, when you have a service that only does something reactive, you don't really need a class and a method to get the observable. You can just extend the observable itself. And this is what we will do. Observable. Let me switch to Zen mode so that I have more screen state. I think my face would obscure something. So it's going to be observable boolean. And we will have a constructor here. And since we are extending observable, we're going to have to use super call. And if you have ever created your own observable, you use the new observable construction, you know that you get a function in super call with subscriber. And basically you need to return some tear down logic here. Since this is a service, it uses Angular dependency injection, we will inject a token here called window. It's from our open source package called ngweb APIs. Window, sorry. ngweb APIs common. It goes with Taiga UI CDK, so you don't have to install anything. And basically, this is how we abstract from the native APIs. We use tokens. Let's call it window ref, and it's a window. The type of it is window. So let's just have some shorter lines here. Like we saw earlier, we need to use window match media, but we can also watch for changes to this media query. That's where the power of it comes. So let's check it out how it's done. Match media on MDN. It's in Russian. Hold on. So when we call match media from window, and let's just copy and paste it from here, we don't really need anything else. Let's save this to a constant. So media window ref and match media. And what can we do with that? This returns a media query list. It's an object, and you saw us checking the matching property, which is a boolean. But we can also subscribe to changes. So let's see how it's done. Let's check out the media query list interface. So there's a method called add listener, which we can use. So this is a backward compatibility stuff. So we could just use add event listener as usual. And the event we're looking for is change. So what we can do is we can just use from event to subscribe to that. So we can have a media stream and use from event from RxJS, the plain from event, and pass the media object there and the event name, which is change. Hold on. Can't find it from. Oh, I think I forgot to import that. Yes. So this observable now holds all the changes from that media query that we just did. And basically, what we can do is we can just use it here, subscribe to it, and pass the subscriber here. Subscriber. Did I do something wrong? I forgot a dot here. Right. So maybe some extra. Yeah, it tells me that the type is wrong. So right now I'm trying to observe a Boolean event, and I'm just looking for a change here. So what we can do is we can add pipe here and use map function and check if the media matches. So now we see that it turned into Boolean property and error is gone. So we can just try this service right now and see if it works. So let's, for example, have our app component and inject it in constructor. We use read-only night theme, which is night theme service. And let's try to subscribe to it in a template. And we will go from there. So let's try to do it this way, async pipe. So we don't see anything here right now. And does anybody have an idea why? I see we don't have a common model. I will add it. Common module. There it is. But still, we don't have anything. Do you have a comment in chat?
Yeah, we have some hello and highs. So, and we had 14 people, but now we have 20.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, do you have a suggestion why we don't see anything here?
No suggestions.
So, the thing is, we are just matching media and watching for changes event, and this change event never happens because I didn't change the theme of my Windows. And we could use start with, so our stream emits at least something, and we could use media matches here. Hold on, I'll import that. And now we see we got false.
There is a guess in the chat about your question that you have to inject service into
No,
token
this
mode.
actually I don't have to because it's provided in root.
And yeah,
Yeah, and it's a singleton
Steph
service.
has an answer. No change
No
event.
change event.
That's
Yes, that's right. That's the correct answer. So right now we fixed that, and we actually made a little mistake here. Can anybody spot it? It's a subtle one. Actually, let's do one more thing. We can add share here because it's a singleton service, and we could use it in many places. There's no need to create multiple subscriptions to this, and with just one listener, it's absolutely fine. But right now we have start with media matches, and this thing is resolved right now at the moment we create this service, not at the moment we subscribe to it. With share it would be more obvious, but it actually is an issue even now, because if I create this service, then I switch the theme, and then I subscribe, we would get the wrong answer because it's already here. So what I like to do in these cases is explicitly start with nothing, like null on subscription, and put it before mapping. So this null means absolutely nothing. It goes here. As you can see in our map function, we do not care about what's coming. We just map everything to medium matches. And this way, on every new subscribe, we will start with something, we don't care what, and then we will map it to the current state of medium matches. And right now we see we get false. I'm going to try to change it. There's a lot of stuff on my screen, so sorry about that. It's in personalization, I believe. Let's give it a shot. So I think it's in theme here. No, in colors. Colors. Yeah, so we see I prefer the light mode in my apps, but we can switch it to dark. Now this is what it looks like now. And let's go here, and we see we get true. That's because the event, the change event has triggered our observable, and we got the new value here. So this is a very simple service that extends observable, and we, as you see, we created this constant here based on an injection token window. So we don't rely on global API really here, and it's very easy to test, write a unit test for it, because you can substitute this token for everything in unit test, anything that you need that would simulate the real thing. Because I don't know about you, but I don't know how to switch to dark mode in headless Chrome for unit tests. We also had some tricky part here that we need to start with null before we map it to actual value, and we also used share, so we don't have to do multiple subscriptions if we use this service across the app in many places. And some people ask me why I use inject in constructor all the time in my code examples, and this is a good case where we could use it too. Basically, we inject the night theme, which is a night theme service, but there's no need to use the type of this service really, because what it is actually is it's observable. We extended it, and it really is observable boolean. Right now, Angular will not be able to resolve that, so we could use inject here and add this class. And now it works again. And this is, I think, a more precise way to type your things, because you don't really want to rely on a night theme service when you define types. It could be any other token that provides the same functionality to you. So the observable Boolean type is like a more blanket case. So I think it's better. So I try to write it like that when I can, and when I cannot, I still use inject decorator, because I don't like unnecessary diversity in the code, because it's much easier to just use inject all the time. Doesn't matter if it's a service, if it's a token, or if I change the type like that. This is why I use it. So it's an answer to a common question that I get. And right now we get it. It works fine. So let's just make a quick PR to Taiga UI. I think it would be good for you to see how it's done as well. So right now I have a clean master here. Sorry, main. We got main. And we can use npmi to install new dependencies that Roman has implemented recently. If you saw it on our demo portal, now we got open example on Stack Blitz. Let's just open random one. So this is an accordion, and we got a new button, edit on Stack Blitz. Pretty cool. You could click it, and it would use Stack Blitz API to create this example for you. It's almost the same as you see in the demo portal, except we don't really know what modules we're going to use. So it adds a lot of modules by default, like almost every module here. So it would take a little while to start for the first time. But this is how you can open it and edit any example that you see on our demo portal to try and edit it a little bit live to see how it reacts to your changes. I think it's very cool. It lags a little bit for me right now because I have a lot of open tabs on the other Chrome instance, and recording with the open broadcaster software. But this is, yeah, that is, it works. So you can try it out. It's also easy to start with that to reproduce some issue that you see with component, or you can just use a starter. So I think we can add this service to Taiga UI. I'm not gonna bother you with writing unit tests. I will add them later. But like I said, since we are using a window token, it's very easy to substitute it in a unit test and just make a mock with a match media method that would return an object that you could add event listener to and do all the things. So we have multiple packages here. It's CDK, core, icons kit, and I believe this service should go into core section because this is where the design stuff comes in, and CDK is very much design agnostic, and I think it's related to design, so I think core is the best place to put it. We got services here, and as you can see, all our libraries broken into secondary entry points on multiple levels. I think Roman talked about that. So if we go to components, we have like button, and then there's an index.ts, which is a secondary entry point for button. Then in components, we also have our own index.ts for components, which import all those secondary entry points like primary ones. And this gives two benefits. First, it's the library is very tree shakeable, and we see if there are any interdependencies, some cyclic dependencies that we should get rid of. And second, we can just import from Taiga UI core all the secondary entry points. We don't need to go to the deep import, but the tree shakeability is still the same. In services here, it's a single entry point for all the services because there's just 3 of them. Let's add one here. But first, let me just create a new branch so I can push it. Night theme service. So let's add it. Theme night theme dot service. And I'll just copy it from here. Hold on. I'm just showing it to you so you see that it's not that hard to create a PR for Taiga UI. If you want to fix something or add something, it's really, really easy. You just need to create a fork, pull it into your computer, and then just do npmi to install all the packages and npm start, and it works. So we also have pre-tier. I use the hotkey right now, so it styled everything according to our I copied the wrong thing. Hold on. So it styles everything. The code style changes according to our settings. You don't have to manually do that because we have a pre-commit hook that would just match all of this. So it also will run through linters and check if you have any issues here, like maybe some types are wrong, things like that. So we don't have to worry about our CI failing on you if you manage to push something, it would already be checked for the most part. Just the unit tests and the build would be run on our PR. So let's see if we could maybe improve this a little bit. Night theme service. Do you like the name, or should we change it to something else?
Which one?
The night theme service. Dark theme service, maybe.
I think it's okay. Night theme.
Yeah, sounds good to me, I guess. Let's just take another look at it right now. So we have a constant. We don't really need it, but it's better to have it. Oh, no, we do need it because we use matches here. So we just query it once. We subscribe to a change event here. We managed to create a nice little stream with start with and share. We subscribe to it here, and the subscribe method returns subscription, which counts as a teardown logic. So it works when we unsubscribe from it, it would release this thing. So I believe that's it. There's nothing else to add. I need to add unit tests, but I will do that later. And I promise I will do that this time. So let's just commit it. And we have a standard version and what they call conventional commits. That's right. So how do we write the commit message properly? We write the what we've done. We've made a feature, so it's a fit. Where we've done it, the scope is the name of the package, and here it is a core package. And here we can write night theme service, add new service. Sounds good to me. So let's commit and push it. Right now it would be performing our pre-commit hooks, so it would run pre-tier on those files. If I haven't done that myself, it would run linters on only the files that have changed. So if I have any mistakes here in types or in import order, it would tell me that. And once it's done, it's pushed, and we can go and create a pull request, which is also rather simple. As you can see, I'm a big fan of UI. I don't run those commands in console. Roman here is a guy who does everything in a terminal. I don't really like that, so I'm just using the UI here. Let's go to the GitHub and Taiga UI. It's taken a while for such a simple commit, really. Usually it's a little bit faster. Maybe I'm overloading my PC with a lot of stuff here. So I see we got some pull requests, and actually one of those requests is a table component that I'm working on. We've reviewed it today with Roman, and I think maybe tomorrow I'll finish the first iteration of it that would go live. It's pretty exciting, a big addition to the library. So it's done, I'm pushing it. And I believe it should appear right here, even without me refreshing the page. Yep, there it is. So I'll create a pull request. So I usually don't feel those things right now. It's easier to click them with the mouse. Let's go. Create pull request. So this commit message follows conventional commits. Test I haven't yet written. I will add them. We can write a comment here. Tests are coming. And it doesn't introduce any breaking change. It doesn't close any issue. It's a feature, and I think that's it. So this is how you make a little contribution to Taiga UI. It could be something bigger. It can be just a little typo fix in our documentation. Anything is really welcome here because it's just two of us working on this thing, and it's huge. Do you have any comments and questions there?
There is a comment by Stefan about they are all not like Roman.
Yeah, well, actually, a lot of developers I work with use terminals a lot, so I usually feel like I'm the outsider here. But I just cannot fit all those flags and comments in my head for some reason. This scheme of creating observable from services services from observables like that. We use it a lot in our ng web APIs initiative, where we have like intersection observers, mutation observers, and what we have geolocation and things like that. Everything that is basically just an observable, we can use this pattern here. Sometimes if it makes sense to not have a service, but instead just have a token for it, we could do similar thing but without extending. Just use the factory function that goes with the token. I think I got such thing in MIDI library. Let me open it to take a look. So what I'm trying to say, when we need to create an observable from some things like window ref, match media, and stuff like that, I'm trying to create a service that extends the observable, so it's a class. But if we just need to combine some other observables that we already have, we can just use a token for that. Actually, I think it's better to check out the Jamigo app. It's more obvious there. So if you want to have an observable that is basically a combination of some other things that you have in your global dependency injection scope, you can create a token for it. I think we have one here called messages. I'm in the wrong place. Yeah, so messages in tokens. I'm actually showing the source code for our karaoke game that me and Roman worked with. It has a lot of interesting dependency injection tricks here. I'm trying to write an article on that as I promised, but it's going pretty slow. So messages in tokens. Notes, I think it's that. Yeah. So this is a token called notes. It's an observable of MIDI events of the notes that I'm playing when I play the game. And what we have here is we have a MIDI messages token, which comes from our library. It's basically messages from a synthesizer that is connected to the PC, and we have a catch error for empty because the browser might not support it, like any other browser than Chrome, really. Chrome. And we also merge this with another token, which is keyboard. Keyboard is pretty much the same, but emulation with a traditional keyboard. It's a token, so we can go drop here and see that we create it in factory, and it's pretty cool. We don't really need to do anything if it's not requested, but if this token is used, then the factory is called upon first usage. And then you see we have some stuff here. We inject dependencies, other dependencies like document or performance, which is also from our library. And then we create events from key down, key up, and map them all with some complex stuff that you don't really need to care about to imitate a MIDI event, so you can play the game with keyboard. And there's also a token for pointer, which is pretty much the same, but it creates a subject. So when we have a playing field with keys there when the game is started, and you use your finger on iPad or something, and you tap on the notes, then we next to this token. So basically it's a subject because we can next to it, but here it is used just an observable, and we merge all those channels to the final notes that we play and use it in a game. So this is how you can very easily use MIDI messages when it's available, and then just replace them with a keyboard emulation if you don't have a synthesizer. So this is another way of making observable stuff in the dependency injection, to use a token and a factory. I believe that's all I wanted to tell you for the first coding session. It's a very simple stuff. I was thinking maybe it would take me longer because I haven't practiced that. But for the next time, I'm going to pick some task from the GitHub issues list and try to code it. And I think Roman also wanted to do some live coding as well. So if you have any questions, just drop them in chat.
A couple of them. The popular one, do you guys have a roadmap?
Yeah, that's a pretty popular one, and I think I've answered that in the previous Q&A session. Yeah, the problem is we have a big upcoming feature of interactive tables, which I'm working on really hard, and I think it's coming rather soon. And after that, we have some space to take a look at what we want to add to the library and make some official roadmap of what we plan to do next. And we also have a lot of internal projects that are using a 1.0 version of our library that was a proprietary version. There are a lot of breaking changes, and we have to dedicate some time to help those people migrate to the new 2.0 version that you are seeing here. Roman is writing some migration schematics and scripts, so this is taking some time from us at the moment. But once we um, do do the tables and the migration stuff, we have our full time dedicated to improving the library, and then we will have a roadmap of some sort. Any other questions there?
All right. What state manager do you guys use in your projects?
I use dependency injection, just plain dependency injection, not any state manager really. I think Roman maybe tried a few of those, but I don't really see a reason for me to do it. Maybe in a big application these are reasonable, but to me it's just much easier to manage all I need with services, tokens, and things like that. And I don't see a reason to create a whole big net of data traveling up and down. Do you have a comment on it?
Mm, I agree with you, actually.
I know people use NGRX a lot
Yeah,
in our company. Yeah,
and Takita, many
sometimes.
people like
Hmm.
that. But anyway, I agree with Alex. Actually, you can do a lot of things with Angular, uh, with things that Angular has out of the box. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why just you can make some experiments with services and Angular DI, and maybe your architecture will be even cleaner and just easier to read than when people using some state managers. But yeah, it's easier to start with some kind of NGRX, and you can just use it. And these tricks with dependency injections, I don't know, came from some experience. And yeah, you can just start make it in, I don't know, the true way.
Yeah, basically how we do it, especially in that Jamigo app, uh, we take the pattern that Roman wrote about private providers to the maximum here. So whenever we have like, let's see how the app is structured. We have roads, and there's a road for playing the game. This is it. So this is a main component. There's just a footer here. It's on the top, so it's higher on that index. There's a little wrapper for the menu, and you can click play, click leaderboard, click sing. Let me just actually show this thing to you because I don't know if you guys know it. It's actually deployed here, so I think it should log in me right about now. Yeah. So there's a list of songs. Let's just pick one. And now it's loaded. So this is the page that we just saw. It's a parent page of this custom route for each song. There's a um, ID here that resolves it. And we use actually route resolver for that. It's pretty good because it puts the actual value in the DI rather than an observable of a server request. It helps us to create a SSR version of the page with all the metadata there. So if I share this link with you, it would show you the preview of the name and the cover art. So it's really cool. I think there's just a simple resolver. Yeah, I think that it is. It's a composition resolver, and it resolves data of the song, the metadata of the name and the art. It puts it in rote data, and we get it from there. So what do we have here? So we have a custom component, and in it we have a providers list. It's some tokens that it knows about. So it knows how to get a media stream. It knows how to get composition. Really pretty easy thing to do. It just gets it from raw data from snapshot. So this is a provider which knows how to get it from the routing, and the custom component provides it in providers list. And so it doesn't really care where it comes from because this constant has this information. And every lower level component here, for example, play component, where you play the notes, or sync component, I think it's also somewhere around here. So they can just inject those things from the DI, and they don't care where it comes from. They also have their list of providers. It's the things they know how to get that are used by some components lower in the DI. So in play, I have a keyboard component and notes that are flying. So basically, notes is a component that displays you those notes that you see when you play. Just let me show it to you. So I click play. There you go. We see those notes. Press buttons later. So this component it just injects the list of notes from the DI, doesn't know where they come from, doesn't care about that. But some component above it that works with this data, it knows where to get it, and it just puts it in the DI. And this is how we organize it here. We have a lot of tokens, a lot of factories, and this makes code maybe a little bit harder to read at first when you don't know how to navigate around this. But really, it makes this code very, very simple to understand. It's just mostly static data or observable data, and you see just a few getters here, maybe one function, and most of our components are written like that. We even joke about no-code methodology. If a function has more than 2 lines, just put a warning there. It's probably something wrong. It's really fun that with all those good abstractions, you don't really have to write a lot of complex stuff to get your thing going. Like I said, I promise one day I'll write an article about how it's done. Probably 3 articles, really. One on how to get this whole native API stuff with music working. One to explain this pattern with dependency injection, how we organize code, and maybe third on deployment, because it's running on Firebase. It uses Angular Universal for SSR. I plan to implement service workers here as well, so it can be played offline. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. So if any questions are there.
Yeah, there are things it doesn't make sense for small project. However, for enterprise it could be a different ballgame. I use NGXS. It's a bit straightforward also, but I have my eyes on it too. Yeah, I never used NGXS, but I think it's similar. Is Jamig open source?
No, Jamig is not open sourced. It's like our pet project, but maybe at one point we could try to make some money out of it, because I think it's a pretty cool idea. And while it's in beta now, I'm trying these things every now and then, adding new songs, and hopefully once I finish this to the point I feel like this is out of beta, I will try to come up with some way to monetize this. Really like this game for myself, but maybe there's a way to bring some bigger artists here, maybe some paid membership with additional songs available only to Patreons or something like that. I'm not really sure yet. So I think that's all I wanted to share now. If nobody has any more questions, we can wrap this up. Feel free to contact us on Twitter. We also hang out on Discord for Angular with in Taiga UI section, and you can also start a discussion on GitHub and ask questions there.
All right. And Dmitry, thank you for upvoting Zamigo on Product Hunt.
Yeah, guys, and thanks for coming. This was a cool thing to try for me. I'm gonna try a little bit more complicated stuff next time. So be sure to subscribe and come to the next session. Thanks everyone for coming. Bye bye. Next time. So